Greetings, chess fans all over the globe. Welcome to Chessexercise 101, the channel where we improve our chess together. A huge disclaimer alert. This is not grandmaster level chess. This is Chessexercise chess, where we put a bunch of ideas together and make it work for us. Not all of us have the ability to play at grandmaster level. Hopefully, we'll journey into that. But there are certain things that you can employ in your chess games that will help improve your chess drastically. I myself learned chess the hard way. Didn't really have anyone to teach me. So there are things that I put together, and I feel that over the years they've helped me become somewhat of a good amateur player. So yeah, I've only played in one tournament. In that tournament, I feel I did well for my one and only tournament. The guy that I lost to ended up winning the tournament, so that made things somewhat easier. So in this channel, we're going to be looking at different openings, general ideas in the middle game, some end games, though studying end games is pretty hard. But if you want to improve your chess, you have to have good ideas when coming into a chess game. So your openings have to be on song, your middle game, you know how to transition from the opening, to using the advantage that you got in the opening, and also how to finish off the game. Your end game is like crucial. So yeah, this is some of the things that we're going to be looking at. Going to be playing through some of the old games that have been played by high-level grandmasters. Obviously, they're not going to be high-level analysis, but we'll make it work for ourselves. So here today, I want to just look into the Italian opening. I myself am generally a 1e4 player. However, in the last in the last couple of months, I've been experimenting with 1e4. So with 1d4, you get this solid, slow moving, maneuvering types of positions. But with 1e4, like there's so much technical, drastic things, like this opening is pretty much aggressive. So by playing 1e4, I actually also realized that my 1d4 queen pawn movements have improved. So I am able to employ different tactics in my normal, basic, boring chess style. Because that's what 1d4 players are labeled as, rather. So here, let's look at the Evans Gambit. Start off with 1e4. So here, white is claiming the fight for the center. So it's indicating already that, I want to take control of the squares. And then black, just mirrors what white's doing, because like they don't want to give away the fight in the center. Because if your center is not intact, then you're most likely to lose your chess game. And then here white plays knight f3. And then, well, because you're attacking this pawn, black defends that pawn by playing knight c6. And then this signals that you don't want to let go of your center. And then the standard move, bishop to c4. This is like the Italian opening. I think they say it's a Giuoco Piano. Well, I stand corrected with that pronunciation. Far from Italy. I'm in South Africa, so we don't have much Italians out here. And then also black here just mirrors, keeping pressure on this pawn. So here, this is the move that I want to look at. b4. b4, the computer does not like this move because you're just giving a pawn away. For what good reason? So here you're trying to deflect the black bishop. So different variations, black can either capture this pawn or he can move back. Hopefully doesn't move back to the original square because you want to develop, or he can move here already. But when he takes his pawn, that's known as like a pawn accepted, like on the Evans Gambit. So he accepting the gambit is like, okay, show me why are you giving away your pawn, because I don't see the main idea in that. So here, black takes the pawn, right? So you can either move back or go back here or there. Here, this is not ideal to go back from like the original destination. So here, white needs to be aggressive. we're kicking the bishop away. So immediately c3. So now we leave the choice to black. What does he want to do? Where does he want to take his pawn? Then, okay, usually they retreat to, what's this, c5. So not a bad move, but then some will go for the bit timid or a bit aggressive, like a5. Keep an eye on this king here, because it's still in the center. So here, the standard thing is to castle. Before you can attack your opponent, make sure that your king is safe. So king safety in a chess game, it's vital. You have to get your king castled and tucked away, safe in the corner. And then after here, well, black is trying to solidify this pawn again because he doesn't want to give away the center. He knows what's coming. Some here play knight to f6, you know, keeping pressure on this pawn here. You know, that's some of the ideas in the opening. We are going to look at different types of variation games and what can transpire. And then here now, we go for d4. Straight away, we are claiming the center and we're kicking away the bishop. So here black is going to take. So let's take back. And then now, well, their choices are now limited. They can only go back to this square, right? So we kick them back to the square. And then here it's vital. Rooks belong on open file. Now, what I mean by an open file, an open file is where there isn't any obstruction in that lane. So here it's a semi-open file because it's still behind our pawn. And also in the end game, so you just have to know that your rooks belong behind your passed pawns. They help push your pawns up and then go get a queen. So now we are keeping pressure on the king. So here now, black has to be very careful. The next couple of moves are very vital. This is one of our ideas. Look at how easily we can coordinate our pieces. Black still undeveloped. Everything is still in the original squares. Okay, and then now black has to try and do something. He's putting pressure to your knight. Well, we don't even mind about that. So here it's recommended that you play bishop b2. So I said the rooks belong on open files or semi-open files, and then bishops belong on the diagonals. This bishop one day, it's going to be very powerful. It's going to be cutting through the whole board. So now it might still be blocked on, behind the pawn, but just keep watch of this bishop. So now, okay, was probably the accurate move here. It's for black to play their queen. But like, look at this. We're going to use our pawns as a battling ram, where we push our pawns so that, you know, you send the small guys first so that we gain more space advantage. So in chess, you're looking for space advantage. The more space you have in the center, the better, like you increase your chances of winning your chess games. So now we're gonna put a question to the queen. Like, okay, queen, where do you wanna go? We are attacking you. So most probably that's why he had this pawn here in order to defend for this. Okay, he's gonna take. The logical thing here is to take. And then after taking, we again post a question to the queen. So if you look now, black is reacting to our moves. All the moves that black has made so far, we made him to react. From the moment when we pushed our b4 pawn, we are making black to react to our tempo. So now, okay, queen f4 is the square that will most likely jump to. And then here you keep pushing your pawn. It's vital to keep pushing your pawn. You want space advantage. We don't care of whatever is happening here. And then, so look at this. I can, oh yeah, well, this is an evaluation bar where it shows who's better. So if you see, it's showing that white is clearly winning this game. Though my queen, the queen is attacked here, since I'm not the one playing this game. But look at white's advantage. It's great because we have a queen on an open file, we have a bishop that's on a diagonal, and we have a rook that's behind a pawn. So our queen is attacked, but we have a more pressing move. So in your chess games, you always have to look for pressing moves. Even though he's threatening taking your queen, you have a pressing move here. This is check. He has to react to this. So we go check. And then now the queen, the king rather, has to move. Okay, moves to the side. And then just look at the coordination. We take the piece because we're taking with the check there, right? Then he's going to take back. And then we put some further pressure. That bishop again, it's coming into the frame. We are still under attack here, but we don't care of whatever is happening with our queen, because this doesn't do anything. He's not threatening checkmate. We have more pressing more pressing play to impose. Then he has to react to us again. Okay, blocks with the knight, but that doesn't really help. Check. Moves aside. Yeah, you can decide on what to do. So this is just a basic idea of the Evans Gambit. There are so many things that can happen. So I'm just giving you a general idea. So now I'm gonna just play through a game, my first ever game that I played, and I got the Evans Gambit position. Mind you, your opponent doesn't have to play the way you think is gonna play. So it's better you understand what happens in the opening, what are the ideas that you can employ with a certain opening, and also the tactics that are involved. Also different variations. You can like also look at the different variations of all this. This can, if this happens, you know, this is what can happen. This is almost like programming, like your if statement. Yeah, sorry, just I like to code myself. So yeah, okay, let me now show you the game that I played. My first ever game I played in the Evans Gambit. All right, all right. So this is the game that I played against Ahmed. This game was played on leeches.org. Yeah, one of the platforms where you can play. It's open source, so it's good. There aren't any, yeah, there aren't any things that you can worry. The interface is nice to play on. So here, this is my first game, like on this, not this channel, but like on this profile, because I made a specific profile for the channel. So here I'm playing the white pieces. You see Chessexercise101. Let's go. So we're playing 1e4 since we're experimenting with this new opening. Okay, he followed suit, plays e5, and then knight f3, knight c6, the standard stuff. And here I put my bishop to indicate that I want to play the Italian opening. And then I was so glad he followed suit, because you can play whatsoever, and then you have to learn how to transition from one position to another. So he played this standard stuff. I'm like, great, get a chance. Let's try b4. So the Evans Gambit, he accepts the gambit. I'm like, good. We kick away the bishop. And then, so yeah, this was still opening book. So when you hear top level players saying like, this is a book move, these are the type of positions where they've been played for hundreds and hundreds of years. It's known that this is what you should do. These are the best moves you should employ. So far it's still booked up. And then here I decide to, okay, let me castle, you know, let's tuck away the king. Let's put our king in a safe space. Right, he solidified the center, still in book, nice. Here I decided to protect this pawn. I think this was passive by me. I don't think this was accurate play, but the reason was that I felt like already I want to have this rook threatening the king. So that was the whole idea here. So that, like I said, this is Chessexercise chess. I'm gonna share the ideas of what I was thinking when I played that move. And then here, I think this is way too slow. Because maybe it's assuming that I want to play my bishop into this diagonal, but that is not the, yeah, that is not the idea of what, I'm not even thinking about that. I think he should be trying to get his knight out. So another important thing in chess, you have to develop your pieces. You have to get your army coordinated. You can't leave your piece behind. That's a recipe for losing if your pieces are stuck in at the original squares. So here he should have played knight f6. I think that would have done some justice, and then maybe castle, get your king in safety. So here now I'm like, okay, d4, let's go. It takes, and then goes back. Well, there's no other square to go to. And then here now, I decide to kick away this knight. I don't think this was accurate. I don't think this was accurate, but I felt like I wanted to dislodge this knight because I was still trying to think what happened if I played like I think e5. I think e5 should have been the way to go here, but such as chess, you can always improvise as long as your move does not get you in trouble. So here this allows his knight to jump, right? So now I'm like, okay, let's take the knight, and then he takes back, obviously. So now I'm like, okay, let's develop our bishop. So here it's crucial that you don't just memorize moves and you hope to make that work, or you hope to win. Have an understanding of what is it that you want to do. This move we've seen in the previous example that I showed that you can play, but here now we have a pawn that's blocking here. He can, you know, feather, cement this pawn in the center. So now my play here is not good at all. So right, he takes his queen out, and then I'm like, okay, good. Let me get my my queen, because I'm realizing that he's threatening me. Did you see that? He was threatening, like, capturing this pawn. He could have easily captured with the bishop and then won my rook as well. So it would have been like an exchange up. So I'm like, all right, let's not allow that. So here then now, okay, we take, and then he cements good, because now everything has changed. His king is not under any threat right now. So it's good that he's cementing the center. So it makes it hard for me to break through. Then this little move here, I'm preventing his queen, his king from castling. So the king can no longer castle this side because I'm threatening here. So the whole idea is that, like, okay, I've messed up a bit in the center. My pawn structure is bad. Because also one other thing, when you're playing, you're also looking at your pawn structure, that if we were to take or remove all of the pieces, would you still be able to win the game with your pawn structure? So clearly here, I'm not happy at this time because of how I played this game. So now he threatens my rook. Like, okay, fine, just gonna move it out of the way, get it behind a semi-passed pawn, because that's where your rook wants to be. And then here, this is on a good day, a very good move, because he's cutting off my king. My king can no longer move to this side, can only move here. I can first move this and then, you know, make some moves, but it's all too slow. So I'm now looking, I'm like, okay, on the, what's this, on the king side right now, I'm not having a good game. What is it that I can do? Because I need to do something drastically here. So now I decide, okay, let me move my knight, because to get my rook free, you know, go behind, what's this, go to an open file and attack the pawn. So that's the idea that I'm having now. I'm like, okay, if he wants to exchange the bishop for this knight, I'm fine with it. My bishop, I feel like it's doing a very good job here. So now he castles queen side. So that's the triple zeros, like the long side castling. All right. So I'm like, okay, but the danger here is that I'm having an open file directly to his queen side where he castled. I'm looking to exploit that, because this is like free reign. And how I exploit that is that immediately I look to threaten this pawn, right? And here he didn't have to move this. I don't know why he felt the need to cement his bishop here, because it was not under any attack. But then this now gives me ideas that, okay, let me somehow check the king. Let's see where this king wants to go. Will it go this side? I don't think so. Most likely it's gonna go this side. And look where my rook is. It's just underneath him. Okay, place as predicted. And then I'm like, let me get my knight active. Let's put the question to this bishop. Where does this bishop wants to go? Because this bishop, if I take, he cannot take back because now the king is in the center. It's pinned. So this is what we call a pin. The king is pinned. You can't take back with the pawn here if I take this. So I'm looking at like, what is his move? So I'm trying to, you know, create like what's his weaknesses in his position. And then I feel like this is a blunder because this move doesn't do anything. Actually, yeah, I think I'm glad I didn't play that way. But then here I just take the bishop for free because this pawn cannot capture. It's pinned. And then now here, obviously, he's gonna start like also your chess psychology. When you blunder something, it's easy for you to tilt. There's something that we call tilting, where you're upset and you don't, yeah, you no longer see the position clearly. So here he plays his knight, which is good because I think he reckoned that I want to jump here with my knight, check him, and then win the rook. However, I have an immediate move here. The pawn's in the center. I'm going to kick the knight away because he cannot take. Here, I'm just going to simply recapture. So now this knight has to move because it's being dislodged. And he moves it to this square, which I feel it's somewhat, yeah, I don't know, it feels somewhat inaccurate. But there isn't any place where it can go, right? So here now, oh, I just fork the rook and the king. So nice check there. I'm loving it. Can I go here? Can I go here? The only place that the king can go is there. So here I'm like, okay, great. I'm winning a rook. I take the rook. So here now I'm happy with this position, but I'm also realizing that this king is very weak. This bishop, it's doing a good job blocking me, but right now it's not necessary because already I'm a piece up. I'm a whole bishop up. Actually, what's this? Even a rook up? Like, yeah. So I'm a bishop and a rook up. So now I'm looking at this. I'm like, okay, what can I do to get to this king? The first thing I recognize here is that this pawn, or rather this pawn, they're holding his defenses together. If I can get rid of these pawns, I can clearly get to the king. But I don't have pawns here to help me navigate, because this way you want to throw your pawns at your opponent and then, you know, but then also I'm so much ahead in material that I can afford to sacrifice something. Here I decide to sacrifice my bishop so that he can take. He shouldn't have took here. I think he'd have survived for yeah, a couple of moves. He decides to take, and then I'm like, okay, let's check you. So the only place where the king can go is here on b8. I'm like, okay, good. And now I still want to maintain this. Now it's check again. The king has to move. It cannot move here. It cannot go back there. The only place that it can move to is c8, right? Okay, king moves to c8. So here now, I took some minutes just calculating the fastest way to get to him, and I couldn't see any other way. That's what I'm saying. This is like amateur chess. But one of the ways that I decided to do this was to get my rook involved. You want to get all your pieces coordinated. And at this time, his moves are very much limited. He has to be careful on what he plays and how he plays, because I'm indicating that my next move is here. So here he plays a bishop back to d7, threatening my bishop. Well, here now, because it's closed in, it's mate in two. I'm just gonna simply move my rook, move my other rook, and then again, the open file wins the game. So here, is forced to move. The bishop is covering there. There isn't any other square, and then checkmate. So I really actually enjoyed this game, and the fact that the opening didn't go as planned or as how I thought it would, but it led to different opening ideas and also different strategies. You get to deliver checkmate on the board. That's something special. You don't often see that every day in high level chess. And also you get to expand in your opening knowledge. So these are the type of games that we're going to be looking at, type of analysis, things that work for us. And some of the things are going to just be repetition, because chess, it's a bunch of repetition. And also it's composed of many, like, what's it, sequences or familiar patterns that you recognize. So the more patterns you create, so meaning you have to play a couple of chess games, you're gonna have to do puzzles, you're gonna have to study the chess in order to improve. So yeah, I'm quite happy with 1e4 now, because like I'm getting in the ratings. So yeah, I'm hoping that I'm gonna break the 2000 level ranking on leeches, because I haven't been rated 2000. So for every game that you play, you win points, and you normally start at like 1500, and getting those 500 points it's not easy. So we're going to be playing different tournaments on Chess or chess.com, chess24. Those are the platforms that I usually enjoy playing in. And yeah, also just analyzing the games. So this is all that I had for you. Please like and subscribe. There's more chess coming your way.